Hey, welcome to the video today. My name is Tanner. We're going to be swapping out this motor that's in this Acura RSX race car that we've made, and I'm going to kind of do a fun little video of how to do it and just kind of the process of how to take it out, I guess. So you might be asking what kind of car this racing does. You might be asking what kind of racing this car does, and what we do with it is a type of endurance racing called enduros, where they can range from anywhere from 150 to 300 laps, and pretty much whoever can make it to that final lap mark first is kind of the winner. Now, a lot of times you get a lot of cars that drop out just because of wrecks or brakes on the car, but just kind of the fun part about it is it's just you kind of make it as long as you can. The type of car that this is a 2005 Acura RSX. I believe it has a K20A3 motor in it that makes roughly about 160 horsepower from what I looked up online. It's got an automatic transmission in it. Some of the racing that we do is kind of in a couple of different areas here near southern Minnesota. The first one that I kind of first grew up going to was the Southern Minnesota Promotions. They kind of do some races at our local county fairs in southern Minnesota at Rice County and Waseca County, and also at another local dirt track, Chateau Speedway. Another series that we do is called the Impact Survival Series, or the ISS, in Wisconsin. And they're kind of a touring series throughout Wisconsin and even parts of northern Michigan. And recently they've been kind of coming over here to Minnesota too at a couple of our tracks. So kind of a local Midwest racing series, but it's the same thing, enduro racing, where most of the time they're always 300 laps or 200 laps. It just kind of depends on whether it's asphalt or dirt, even 150 laps too. So the reason I'm doing this is just for something fun to do. It's the middle of winter here, and now is the time to get a lot of stuff like this done, where it's not in the middle of the season, where we're trying to, prepare for the next race within a couple weeks or a month or whatever it might be. But right now we have our next race in early April, so we got a little bit of time yet, and to get something like this done. So, and I guess it's just, like I said, something fun to do that I've been kind of thinking about doing, and you know, don't know if it's really for a reason to be. So, like I said, it's something fun that I've been wanting to do for a little while, and I like to post videos during these races from a roof cam that I usually put on the top of the car, and just something was kind of intrigued and interested in doing, just to do something in the middle of winter. And been watching a lot of videos of Vice Grip Garage or Cletus down in Florida, and don't have hopes of being something big like them, but like just thought it'd be something fun to put something out like this. So whether it's going to be for educational purposes for someone that might be looking to do the same thing, or for any sort of entertainment purposes, or even somebody brand new to this that wants to get in this type of racing that might not know how to get entered into it or kind of where to start. So, and then recently we just as of last year we made our first trip down to Iowa at Hawkeye Downs racetrack. I don't know the official name of it, but just Hawkeye Downs, for an enduro series that they run down there. And I believe last year was the first time that they ever put dirt on their track, where it's primarily an asphalt track. And kind of the reason that we first made the trip down there was kind of the reason that I got this car. Probably about last June, uh, about last June sometime. I saw this group called DC Enduro Cars, I believe. It's run by Dallas Chandler. He's a local racer down there, but he put out a post on Facebook for anyone that wanted to enter a raffle to win this car, and it was $10 a spot, I believe, and I think they had about 270 cars, or 270 entries to enter in to win it. And so I was like, well, I'll put 20 bucks in, like, why not, and see what happens. And kind of forgot about it for a month, and then all of a sudden, one Saturday in early July, I got a message from him on Facebook and said, "Hey, congrats, you won the car." I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So I made the trip down there, picked up the car from him, and so essentially this is a $20 car to us. So yeah, this is kind of the story of where we got this car, and um, so we wanted to go try out a different track, and so we made it down there in the end of October, I believe it was, and really fun track and really fun race. And unfortunately, it was a very early race, or it was cut short, and had I believe it was a muffler or piece of an exhaust that was out on the track that came up and hit the radiator in the front. And these cars, from what we found, sit really low to the ground, so there's not a lot of clearance where it might just, you might just drive right over it. Um, so hit it, and a couple laps later, we had a red flag instance where we had to stop on the track, and I looked down at the temp gauge, and it was pegged out hot. So I took it off the track and figured something must have been wrong, and got out and saw that there was a big wishbone shape in the radiator. So it was done at that point. So we ended up replacing the radiator in it, and we were going to take it for a New Year's Day race at Elko Speedway, not too far from here. And it was the Impact Survival Series that was coming over from Wisconsin. They usually do a New Year's Day race, and we got the car ready, got everything loaded up, and the next day we were going to put some heat in the car before we left, just to make sure everything was all right. And lo and behold, we found a coolant leak, and from what we believe is from near the head gasket from near the head on the back side of the motor. And so instead of taking the car there, we just said, you know what, it's not worth wrecking the motor. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. Instead of trying to swap a new head gasket in, which can be kind of tricky with dealing with timing chain and all that stuff when it's still in the car. Instead, we're going to do the sensible thing, and we're going to swap out a brand new, new to us motor that we got for, I think it was maybe 300 bucks. But it's a used motor. I think the motor had anywhere from 250 to 300,000 miles on it. I don't know for sure, but I can't remember at this moment. But we're going to swap that one in where we know everything should be good on it. And then in time, we'll just swap out the head gasket that's in this motor while it's out of the car, and we have a lot more room to work with it. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, and taking you along for the ride. All right, so we'll just do a quick little walk around of the car. Like I said, it's a 2005 Acura RSX. Um, and like I said, with this type of racing that we do, we just kind of strip the interior out and try to make it lightweight as possible, and also just for hazardous conditions in case anything were to start on fire. We'll remove the airbag out of the car because sometimes we can get into a little bumping and banging on the track, not on purpose, but just there's fender benders and stuff, and we don't need any sensors going off on us during the middle of the race when things like that can happen, and potentially blow our thumbs out of its socket or out of place. Sometimes you can take the windshields out of the car and put some rebar and chicken wire, or just something if you're on dirt most of the time, so you don't get the dirty windshield. Um, and then also too, sometimes you can run side mirrors like this or rear view mirrors. Just kind of depends on your racing series that you're in. Just whatever the rules kind of expand on. When I won the car, it came with it fully, had a cage in it and a brand new racing seat, and so it was actually a really cool deal. So if you ever want to try to get in on one of those raffles. Like I said, I believe the Facebook page is DC Enduros, and a lot of times these cars that we run, they're usually fairly inexpensive. A couple $100. Where we just take them straight off the street, where they might have been in a little fender bender and not, clean enough to be on the streets anymore. And for in this case, I believe this car at one point must have had a rear end collision where um, it got straightened back out, but you can kind of see how that all got crunched and then straightened back out. So also, I forgot to mention another racing group that we're kind of helping out with, Midwest Sixer Racing Series. It's primarily focused on automatic six-cylinder cars. Make sure to give them a check out too. So we'll go ahead and pop the hood open here. We'll see if I can do it one-handed while holding the camera. But I guess to give a NASCAR-like shout out, got to thank my sponsor, B&B Pumping and Portables, #1 company and the #2 business. And that's where we are, is in their shop right now. So we got a couple other cars that we've been working on, maybe hoping to do another video on this sometime. It needs to, I believe it's a K-frame in the front. Last April, we had it break on us, and it's kind of hard to tell with the camera angle, but you can see how that wheel is kind of turned out there, and this one's kind of straight up. It's essentially doing the splits, and it's a little bow-legged, so we'll have to change that out. But yeah, I might make a video on that here yet this winter, but we'll see how things will go. So, but we'll open up the hood here, and like I said, see if I can do it one-handed. And my dad already kind of got a start on this over the last week. I was hoping to get down to help take it apart, but I just didn't get a chance to, or was busy, and so he kind of got a head start on it. And so there's just a few things that we'll have to take out of it yet, but he already got the radiator out and did a bunch of the electrical unhooking and the wiring, which is actually not too bad once you start. Um, it it kind of peels away really nice, and can kind of open things up, as you can see. So um, so I think just a few more things that we'll have to do before we can pull this motor out is, which will be one of the last things, we'll have to take out or unhook all the motor mounts. I believe there's 4, 1, 2, and 3, and I believe there's one on the back side of the motor that we'll have to undo. My dad already got a start on this side with taking this axle apart, and as you can see there on the ground, and it runs back to the axle back in there. So we'll have to take this side apart on the driver's side here, and so then that'll free up the drivetrain of it. And then I believe after that, it'll be just unhooking the exhaust manifold here. If I can get it more in focus. But yeah, we'll have to take that apart, and then I'll have to just double check everything over. But yeah, I think after that, then things will be ready to be pulled out. So before I start digging in any of this with unhooking that stuff, I'd like to back this car up a couple more feet, just to so I have enough room here in front of the car and this old truck here that my dad's been working on. But just so I can get the engine hoist, have enough room here to work by myself. So I just got to back the skid steer up here a little bit, and then I think since this has one more wheel on it, or one wheel on the front still, and jack stands underneath it, I should be able to take those out and then kind of use the jack and kind of wheel it back a couple feet. Well, sure. Alright. Well, we'll start by popping this wheel off and start it there. Take my little mobile microphone off because my phone was starting to get low on battery, so I had to plug that in, so hopefully you can hear me somewhat decently still. Maybe I'll turn the radio down quick. Alright, that'll work. So I think the first thing we'll do is take off the strut mounts. Wrench for that. Let's see. Yep. Now, the crescent wrench. Persuasion. There we go. That out. Alright, now that axle should be free. I don't know if we've ever had this out, so we're going to have to tap on it a little bit. make sure to put the nut on the end of that so you don't tap on the hammer, or tap with the hammer on this and screw your threads up. So if you thread the nut back on it and then tap it, should help protect your threads a little bit better. I'll just see. Pop that out. There we go. Oh, come on. She wants to. Push this down. Come on. Oh, she's almost there. There you go. All right. Now that we got the axle free, we just got to crawl under it now and pop the axle out from the transmission. And I think we should be good on this side to free up the motor from that. So yeah, we'll pop that up. All right, so now I just gotta get back up in here with a screwdriver or some sort of pry bar and just try to pop these axles out. Sometimes they can be kind of tricky, sometimes they can be easy. Oh, there we go. There's a little fluid. That's all right though. That's expected on these big jobs. All right, now we should just give this little tug and it should come out the rest of the way. Just like that. Set that off to the side for later. That should wrap that up. So just keep in mind if you're doing this too that you're gonna get some leakage out of there, so it might take a couple minutes to stop dripping. Now we're at the point where we can start taking some motor mounts out. I guess my dad did already end up unhooking the exhaust manifold in the back from the exhaust. So that was already done. So I already kind of got the back bolt undone. And so now I just got the 3 up in the front. So I think first I'm going to take this one, try to get this one out or at least loosened, and then try to get the engine puller over here, maybe get that hooked up to start. And then that way I can take some weight off and take these other 2 out, and hopefully it should pop right out after that. Interesting. It's got a little tab on that so that you don't have to put a wrench on the other side. That makes it actually pretty nice. So, okay, we got that one out. Let's see. Same size there. Same size there. There. Looks like we got a ground we have to unhook there. Same there, so okay, we'll get the engine hoist over here. No. should have about every mount taken out. This should be the last, one of the last bolts, actually. Another. Sketch. 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 Well, I think I finally got it. I was getting hung up on this shifter cable, and I didn't know that I had to take a cover off there. But what a little cussing storm that was, but we should be able to pull her out now. All right, after fighting with the shifter cable, I should be able to take it out now. No issues. Fingers crossed. Regroup again. That's what it was. All right, there we go. After a lot of headaches, she's out. So now will be a good time to get a lot of this mud vacuumed out of here and get this cleaned up a little bit. And all right, well, we got it out and got her sitting next to the new engine. All right, well, we got it out and we got it sitting next to the other engine that we're going to be swapping in, but we're going to have to swap some stuff over. Like obviously the transmission we got to swap over. I think we got to do something with the pulleys and power steering pump and some other stuff, but probably some few odds and ends stuff. But I think I'm going to end it off there because that was way more stressful than it had to be. So I might have go and have a adult beverage and end it off there. So thanks for watching.